Americans have been obsessed with the idea of an alien space invasion ever since 1947, when those fellas crashed in Roswell, New Mexico. Little known fact, Japan is also into alien space invasions. I mean, they must be, because in 1978, Japanese developer Taito released Space Invaders into arcades everywhere. Originally titled Space Monsters, Space Invaders was a sci-fi shooter pitting players against waves of descending outer space foes. It was designed and programmed by Tomohiro Nishikado, and he did it all by himself. Originally conceived as a non-sci-fi shooter, aliens were chosen as the primary enemy because, quote, shooting people was frowned upon. With the previous year's Star Wars lighting up cineplexes across the globe, an alien-themed game was just the thing to bring life back to dwindling arcades in the late 70s. And bring life it did. Space Invaders became a sensation almost instantly, becoming ubiquitous in bars, restaurants, and bowling alleys across Japan and the US, and generating the modern equivalent of nearly $5 billion within a year of its release. It spawned new genres, inspired countless new designers, and ushered in a new era of arcade game supremacy. Today, we fire our lasers and hide behind our bunkers as we discuss one of the biggest video game phenomena to ever exist: Space Invaders! It's a video game podcast.
Wow!
And there's so much to discuss. One of us knows all about them.
That's you.
And the other one's a dunce.
That's me.
You're gonna learn about the very best games with two annoying dorks.
Fatality.
From asteroids to Zelda. From adventure to Zork. We have no life and we feel no shame. We need your help, 'cause we're bad with games. Bad with games. Welcome to this week's show. My name is Jonathan.
My name is Will.
And we are Bad with Games.
Space Invaders. That's our show today. It's Space Invaders.
Wow. When you sang that, it sounded like a specific tune.
Oh, it did?
I thought maybe that was a song, you know. Maybe that's a Buckner and Garcia joint.
I mean, it could be a song.
What do you think about this? Buckner and Garcia featuring Machine Gun Kelly.
Why?
I don't know. Do you like it?
Not really.
Do you like alienating all of our listeners 30 seconds into the show?
I would rather we had fewer.
Yeah. Too many, I say. If you are here, it's because, we're talking about Space Invaders, released into arcades in 1978. Whew.
Wow.
Year after Star Wars, a year before Alien.
Shit is so old.
Yeah, this shit is old as fuck. If you're listening to this, if you didn't skip this episode, whoo, boy, dust yourself off, you crypt keeper.
Crypt keeper.
Yeah, your old bones are falling apart.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, I bet you're in the middle of an episode of Matlock, you old fuck. We're young.
Is that right?
We're young! Welcome to the show. I'm so happy that everyone's joining us. We're on audio wherever you get audio, and also on YouTube at Bad with Games. You're watching that right now if you want to see gameplay of this week's game. Extremely exciting stuff. It's our second arcade game after Pac-Man, and arguably a more important one even than Pac-Man. I don't even think it's arguable. I think, to be quite honest with you, in terms of importance to the video game industry in general, I don't even want to use the word industry, just video games, this might be, it's certainly in the top 3, if not number 1.
Remind me again when Pac-Man came out?
Pac-Man is 1980.
Okay, so and given how fast all this shit was moving, this is a
Right.
significant predate.
Right. Yes. In arcade video game years, that's like a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're gonna start the show off with our regular segment. Uh, I don't know what it's called, but it's called. Ha- uh, do you know this game and have you played it or anything?
Oh. Yeah, okay, that one, sure. I was like, there's a couple that come at the beginning, and I'm not really ever sure. Um, I mean, it would be kind of wild if I said I didn't know this game, right? You wouldn't believe me if I said that, right?
Yeah, well, I would not believe you because I know at least. Actually, I don't know. Have you watched Futurama? You have.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So then, yes, then I know you know it at least in some regard. But you're
I
also a
guess
weirdo.
Fry played that. Is that right? I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember where it was in Futurama. It must
th-
have been he played it at the pizza shop, right?
there is an
Or something.
episode that I plan on bringing up because it's very meaningful to me.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes. I sort of remember this. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was
Yeah, we don't need to get
locked
into it
into the
now.
actual
But
meaningful to you, huh?
Will, you're
Yes.
bad with games.
Right.
Uh, what know about this game do you? This episode sucks. If this is someone's first episode, they turned it off a minute ago. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to start the show. I just don't know how to. I don't know how to get into it.
It's fine. It's fine. Well, you're not as passionate about the show as you were about, say, Zelda.
Oh, right. I thought you were gonna say
Yeah.
Animorphs.
Oh, well, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's also true. Uh,
What about you? Are you passionate about
um,
Space Invaders?
all right. So Space Invaders.
Sucks.
I've definitely played Space Invaders or Space Invaders likes before, right? Like I don't. So this was not one of the arcade cabinets in my dentist's office, right? Uh, which
That's
I
the
think the
test.
only two places there's like a roller rink near me that I went a couple times on like I don't know summer camp field trips or some shit when I was a kid that also had arcade cabinets, and I think those are the only two places I've ever played arcade games. So I don't think I've ever played this on a real arcade. Um, that being said, I've definitely played something like Space Invaders, probably actual just straight up Space Invaders clone as, I don't know, a Flash game or something. And certainly other shit like that to some extent. But I don't have like extensive experience with it or anything like that.
I think you and I are probably in the same boat this week.
Okay.
I assume at some point I probably played an arcade version of this, but probably for 25
hmm
seconds. And honestly, I don't know if I ever would have played a home version either. But it's one of those things, sort of how you felt about Tetris, where it's just so
hmm
ubiquitous in video game culture that I feel like even if I hadn't played it, I just played it through osmosis. Like, surely I've played it at some point in time, but I couldn't point to a thing. Not like with Pac-Man, which is almost as old as this game. But I think Pac-Man, I feel like, has had a longer shelf life than Space Invaders. Pac-Man has they've repackaged it, and there's been 3D Pac-Mans and Pac-Man spin-offs and modern takes on Pac-Man over the years. Space Invaders kind of just lived and died by the time the early 80s were around. There's a few spin-offs here and there, but it didn't really have the same staying power that Pac-Man did. So it's not one that really think I spent much time with. I'm certain that this week I played it, I don't know, 100 times longer than I ever have before.
Yeah, like I'm 100% positive that any Space Invaders likes that I have played were Flash games. Like when I play this, I'm just like, yes, this makes me feel like a Flash game. Like it wouldn't have been on like a console or anything like that.
Now, there are many other types and genres of video games that have taken influence from Space Invaders. So even a Space Invaders like could be extrapolated out to
Yes.
any bullet hell shoot 'em up game.
Right.
There's lots of different things that you can kind of take from it, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say I've seen things, and I don't quite know all of the genre names for them that remind me of much more complicated versions of this, and Bullet Hells would be one of those things.
which, to be honest, is not. I wouldn't have ever said, "Oh yeah, this is a shooter game." I mean, it literally is. That's exactly what it is. But in
Mhm.
my mind, it's removed from even the Xeviouses, the Galaxians, those types of games in the arcade and later iterations like an Ikaruga or something. But they certainly have their roots in Space Invaders. It's undeniable. Among as many other things do as
Well,
well.
I'll deny it.
Well, you denied 9/11. Why not this too?
I'm glad you went there and didn't try to paint me in a worse light. There were other things you could have said.
Sure. Well, yeah. Between the two of us, we've denied many a thing.
Right.
We don't need to go into specifics now.
Between the two of us.
Let's talk about what I'm going to call the box art for Space Invaders.
Sure, this is the cabinet art, right?
Yeah, the cabinet art. Now, important to note, I think, this game was originally titled Space Monsters.
Mm.
Actually, here's a little bit of history for you. The reason that it's aliens, first it was supposed to be ships, like planes and jets and stuff, but they didn't think they could animate them well enough. So then they were like, let's make the enemies humans. But somebody said, shooting a bunch of people seems immoral. So I don't want to shoot people.
So, question about this, because I did see this.
Yeah.
Who do they think pilots planes and tanks and jets and stuff?
Well, they're
Do they
drones,
think
of
that
course.
they don't think people are in those?
Well, you're removed from it. It's not
Right.
as
It's so
you can lie to
Yeah.
yourself.
It's okay as long as you don't have to see the people you're killing.
I'm sure that the fighter pilots from wars past don't have as many issues as the people who shot people in person, right? That's probably true.
That's probably true. Yeah. I'm not going to look that up, but
Yeah, no, I'm going to make sweeping generalizations and proclamations about the state of soldiers, something I have no experience with whatsoever.
well, you read Animorphs, so you know all about that kind of
Right.
thing. You're probably
Yeah, that's
more
true.
qualified than the average soldier because you read 54 books, and how many wars have they been in? Probably one at most.
Yeah.
At most.
Yeah. You're goddamn right. So anyway, the reason that I was setting this up is because supposedly, I don't know that this is confirmed. I think the creator of the game theorized that maybe this art was done with the working title Space Monsters still on the table because it does not feature the iconic aliens in the game. Instead, it has this weird lumpy Yeti figure,
Yeah.
this shadowy beast.
You have like a clear image of that somewhere.
Yeah, I can send you a clear image of that for sure. And if you're
Wikipedia's
watching the
kinda
video, you'll see it.
Crappy. Oh, yeah,
Um,
there we go. That's a good one. Now, because, like, I had seen this, and, like, here's the thing. The aliens in Space Invaders are so generic I mean, that kinda could be one of them, maybe. Right? Like, maybe the middle ones, but without the antenna, right? Because they've got arms and legs, and this thing's got arms and legs too.
Yeah, actually, what I think is kind of great about the Space Invaders aliens, which again are not featured on this art, but that we know. I suppose maybe you're
Mhm.
right. Maybe that's one of them. They really don't make any sense outside of pixel graphics. Like
Mhm.
you can't like Pac-Man even over the years has had 3D realizations. There's 3D versions of Pac-Man that exist. He has arms and legs and shit. I've never seen an attempt to modernize the Space Invaders alien other than instead of being 2D like it's 3D but it's just kind of it's still like a rectangle, it just has dimension to it. But it still
Mhm.
just looks like that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it's very abstracted, and you're just supposed to kind of fill in the blanks of, oh, that's what that alien looks like. But you can't really. I don't know what that looks like. Like, are those its arms over there? Is that its mouth? Are those hands?
Yeah.
What is it? Where does it begin? Where does it end?
Yeah. No,
I don't
I
know.
don't know what the hell these things are. Do they have names? The three different rows?
As far as I know, they do not have names. There's no Inkies and Blinkies or
There's
anything,
no like
unfortunately.
gleeps, glorps, and goobers or something.
I I don't think so. I think
Hmm.
they're just the faster ones. These ones are
Hmm.
worth 30 points. All right? I don't know.
Yeah. I wish they had names. That would definitely improve the gameplay experience.
Well, it is like, are we I mean, we're just not even talking about this box art at all because
No, we really aren't.
there's
So
nothing.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a Yeti. He's stomp. One of the things that is interesting about like this and Pac-Man is that like I don't know this quote unquote box art at all, right? Like I'm just not aware of these. So I feel like if you were around at the time, like this art would be very recognizable to you as like, oh, Space Invaders, like it's the big stompy Yeti guy on the cratered moon surface thing. But to me, I'm just like, I would never in a million years have recognized this as Space Invaders. It's strange to me to have that disconnect.
Yeah. Yes, it's a very different thing. I think we've already with some other game talked about the Thing movie poster,
Hmm.
but it feels very much like that to me, both in composition
It
and
is.
because that poster has nothing to do with the content of the movie.
It is very thing-ish. Now, what about, I mean, okay, so there's a second alien, and he's
Mm,
not walking up behind the first alien. He's floating down to the planet's surface behind the first alien. So
sure.
in Space Invaders, right, these aliens are slowly floating down. They're like parachuting down to the planet's surface where you're shooting them. They're not like flying through the air and they're not like marching toward you, is what I'm taking away from this.
Yeah, I think that's correct. That's
Okay.
my understanding. That's how I read it.
Okay. I don't like that it's literally like the same design copy pasted. I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly
That
just said, "Hey,
sucks.
there's some empty space here. I don't know, just stick it there again."
Yeah. Now I
Yeah.
do like the alien getting zapped in the little star. That I like.
And then in the top right, there is a different model that actually has pupils in its eyes, whereas the ones in front are blank-eyed.
Yeah.
Looks
Oh,
more
that's so
cat-like.
weird. I guess that's like the second tier of alien.
Honestly, I love this poster or, art. Like, this would make an awesome poster, I think, to have in your house somewhere. It's just cool looking. I think the colors are great. The blues and yellows are really nice together. It looks like a pop art kind of a thing,
Mm,
as an I'm
yeah.
sort of an art history buff,
Right,
and I feel
exactly. Yeah.
I feel like it's giving Warhol.
So so you would classify this as an art history guy. You would
Mhm.
classify this as art.
100%. This is absolutely
Okay.
art.
All right. This gets the art seal of approval.
It becomes more art if you remove the text because it's a little
Mm.
bit too close to commerce with the text,
Mm.
the logo.
I mean, it's kind of comic booky. Are comic
Mm.
books art?
Yes, some of them.
Okay. Oh, okay. Only some though. I see. So yeah.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
text
yeah.
muddles it a little, maybe.
Yes, yeah. And if Alan Moore made it, it's art.
Okay. This
And
is
I
an
know.
important discussion to understanding Space Invaders.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, they really should. Someone should do a new Space Invaders and bring these lumpy Yetis
Mm.
back. Let us give their story. I want them to finally have their time in the spotlight.
Their story.
Also, they are, as you said, they're on this cratery moon or asteroid of some kind. But
Mhm.
like, what is that? They're supposed to be invading Earth. So why? What planet are we on? Why is that there?
This is Earth.
That's Earth.
Yeah, we blew
What
it
part
up.
of Earth?
We
Oh.
blew it all up.
Also, there's these white lines in the background, straight white lines.
Yeah, they're kind of, I don't know, they've got like that like I'm almost imagining them moving and you can see them get, closer together. It's like a little parallax effect thing going on here.
Hmm. They're for some reason they're reminding me of. I mean, not for it's obvious the reason, but it's making me think of musical notes, like
Mm.
a measure of music.
Mhm.
I don't know. I kind of like something I like about this art is that it doesn't make any sense.
It's
It's something about a lot
yeah.
of these early video games. I think we've been saying where they just there wasn't so much oversight at this point
Mhm.
because they didn't nobody really knew what they were doing. Nobody was thinking so hard about the marketability of an image. They just slapped something together and said, "Yeah, yeah, that'll people will want to play it. They'll just see something weird and they'll come over." And you ended up
Mm.
with something cool and strange as opposed to something that feels very like who gives a shit about it, the cover of a video game now? They're not interesting anymore.
Right. Well, can't wait for us to start talking about those, and then everyone will immediately tune out. I'm glad they
Yeah.
like the cabinet discussion at least.
All right. Shall we transition back to the video game?
Sure, I guess, if we have to.
This game is a big deal. It's a
Mhm.
big deal. Neither of us had very much experience with it, but of course everyone is aware of it. And it's one of those things that, for me at least, it's again so ubiquitous in our culture that I never really spent much time thinking about its impact or what it must have been like to play it at the time.
Mhm.
Again, not in a way that I did for something like Pac-Man, where I feel like that's still around. Space Invaders doesn't have that kind of persistence in our culture necessarily, at least not for me. But man, playing the game for the first time in a long time, I started to realize, oh, there's a lot of things going on in here. I mean, obviously we said shoot 'em ups and bullet hell games.
Mhm.
That's part of it. I also feel like it's very much puzzle gamey.
Hmm.
It's not that different when you think about it from Tetris. Things come from top of screen. You need to manage them from bottom of screen
Hmm.
and make them disappear. Like if you
I
break it down,
guess.
what one of the influences the creator said for this game was Breakout.
It does feel I mean, it feels a lot more like Breakout than it does like something like Tetris because you have, like, a location that is along the bottom of the screen, and you are trying to get rid of stuff on the top of the screen that is based on your location on the bottom, right? Which is a breakdown, like kind of like how you gave, where it's like so oversimplified that is it even the same thing? But it does to me, it has far more breakout vibes than Tetris.
But I think Breakout and Tetris are not that dissimilar. I think like I would call those the
Hmm.
same. Well, I mean they're close. Like they're in the
I don't.
same family. I think.
I
I don't
don't
know.
know. It
To me,
feels somehow different. Like on Tetris, you're very concerned with like I don't know, matching certain shapes and patterns, whereas in Breakout, you're more just interested in managing your location.
yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
true. I mean, sure. I'm not saying they're identical, but I think when you play them, to me at least, when I play these
Mhm.
games, I have the same sort of headspace of
Interesting. Okay.
things are coming at me and I need to like deal with them. you
Okay.
know?
I mean on a very broad level, sure, but on that broad of a level it doesn't feel that mean. Like to me I think for me I do think I feel differently.
Well, I think it's
But
also the
yeah.
fact that it is just one screen that doesn't
Mhm.
move and it's sort of like never ends technically. I mean there is
Mhm.
a screen too, but like and as you go it gets faster, right? I mean it's
Mhm.
there's parallels. I was also going to say sort of and this is even more of a stretch, but I'm going to keep throwing these at you.
Mhm.
Sort of a rhythm game-ish in a way.
Yeah, when you said, well, there's like a screen and you're at the bottom and you're managing things from the top. It's like, yes, from that definition, it's rhythm game-ish, but it I don't know. I've to me, Tetris and a rhythm game have far more in common, right? Because of the fact that you are trying to like I don't know, where's the pattern matching element here? Like it doesn't feel like I'm trying to very quickly I don't know. Maybe I should be. Maybe I should be reading patterns in the bullets or something like that. But to me here, it feels more like I'm reacting to things happening around me rather than like kind of like banking like, okay, I'm going to need to do this set of motions, and then if I'm a couple sets of motions ahead, then I can be on top of it. But if I have to react to each individual one, I'm screwed. I don't know.
Well, there are different types of rhythm games. There's variations on that theme, but well, I'll tell you. First of all, this was I discovered apparently the first video game that had a consistent soundtrack in the background.
Interesting.
So
So
yeah,
I gotta give you a little issue here that I had. I actually
oh
had
boy.
issues with the sound on my game. So I was not able to get that consistent soundtrack, even though I knew what it sounded like, and I went and listened to somebody else play it again to get it. But I don't know why that was like not there for me.
You had no sound at all, or
I
just the
didn't.
music?
No, I had like some sound effects, but I was missing other sound effects and not the music. It was weird. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
I got to be honest. I feel like that takes away from half the experience of playing this game. I think that might severely impact your impression of this game.
It could. It could.
Because that like the whole thing of this game for me is it's very simple. It just goes
Mhm.
dun 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 dun
Right.
dun dun and then just speeds up and speeds up as you go.
Mhm.
But it really is effective and makes you feel this pressure that's coming at you. And I feel like the rhythm that I'm referring to is in the timing of moving back and forth and shooting at the exact right time and then moving again. I know that this just sounds like any video game.
Mhm.
But I do feel like there is when I'm playing it, maybe because it's so pure and so simple of a game that you can kind of lose yourself and just zone out and just kind of work with the rhythm of it in a way that
I could see
other games
that
you
where
can't.
where there is some connection. Cause for me to be like there's a rhythm as opposed to just being like there's a set of buttons that you press at a specific like muscle memory. To me, it's like, okay, there is a rhythm to that, but it's not the same as like a rhythm game. I could see something that I might have been missing here where you are because like yes, I was aware like okay, I need to like change the timing on when I'm shooting based on how fast they're moving and how far away they are. And I'm not that good at that. But I could see being like some of that can be done on autopilot from the soundtrack. I don't need to pay attention to how fast they're moving. I can
Mhm.
listen to the music and that, frees up visual space to be like watching for bullets or something like that. I could see that becoming a part of it. But and I do
Yeah.
like I said, I have played something like this before. I do remember feeling that sense of like the integration of the music into the like oh my god it's getting more
Sure. And when I
yeah.
say, "Oh, this is like a puzzle game, this is like a rhythm game," I really do
Hmm.
mean that in the way that like a mitochondria is like a human being.
Hmm.
like like I think these are things that were present here that this game because it was so massive and influential broadly to a whole generation of video game designers that these things like just seeped in and eventually made their way and evolved into other genres. Um,
I just feel like calling Pac-Man a survival horror game, it feels
mhm,
like a little less of a stretch than
sure.
calling this a rhythm game.
Well, that's why I'm not saying it is a rhythm game. I'm saying
Okay,
like
okay.
it has.
Sure.
That's what I mean. I just
Yeah.
laid it out. I think pretty clearly. I think
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it
No,
has
I
those.
I hear you.
I'm gonna keep going. I don't care that you can keep shooting down every one of these. I'm gonna keep going. A tower defense game. The only difference is you're not the one setting up the defenses. But basically when you start, it's like, all right, I have my little blockades, and then it's a wave-based shooter, right? And then I try to take it on. Okay, fine. You don't need to dwell on that too much.
I mean, I don't know. It feels more like a tower defense game. Like
Great.
the idea of a wave based. There's waves of enemies that I have to defeat. I don't know.
Right. And one more, and this one I'm gonna
Yeah,
really
keep going.
stick to my guns. This is the first cover shooter The first third-person cover shooter. Eat your heart out, Gears of War.
That's great. Yeah, that's funny.
You go behind cover, you emerge, you shoot. I mean, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're right. You're right on these.
So I'm saying, anyway, this game, when it came out, something I really started to appreciate this game more reading about the sort of the era and the atmosphere of the time it was released in, because video games at this time really were Pong. Like Pong was really the only big game at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And there were Pong ripoffs. There was stuff, tennis games and what have you, a lot of sports themed bowling video games or whatever, stuff like that. But this was really the first big one, at least, that was an action game with a sci-fi theme, and it became enormous. I mean, it blew open the entire game industry. This is the reason Pac-Man exists. It's the reason arcade games were huge in the 80s. And like Shigeru Miyamoto has been quoted as saying that the reason he became interested in making video games at all was because of seeing Space Invaders.
Mm-hmm.
So like I just think that, and playing it now and thinking about all this, I just feel like there is a lot of DNA here that it's easy to take for granted. You just go, oh, whatever. It's a game for babies. You move left and right. Like, who gives a shit? And it's like, yeah, but no one had ever done anything like this before. It is kind of insane. Let me give you some other innovations this game presented.
Sure.
First game with lives.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. 3 lives. That hadn't been done before, okay? First game to have high scores.
You mean like it saves the score in the game so you can see it? Or like there was a score?
Maybe both. But yes. First game that basically never ends, in the way that a Pac-Man or a Tetris or so many other arcade games that just keep getting harder and harder until you lose. This is the first time that happened. Also, I don't know if it's the very first, but one of the early games that in the arcade that wasn't based on a timer for when it ended. Along those, a lot of games were like you play until time runs out. This was about skill. See how long you can last. And also, I'm going to say this: maybe the first game with destructible environments.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I mean a couple things on that. Like I can see that. That is because that's an interesting idea. The concept of a game as a world as opposed to a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're looking at something like Pong, right? That's a game that you could play against a person. Or something like Breakout, like, yeah, there's no direct analog, but it's just pieces that you're trying to get to work, right? Like solving a Rubik's Cube or whatever. Like these are pure games, right? There's nothing in the game that's not just a game construct. You know, a game, like, because I think there is a huge jump between, like, okay, I'm just going to put some pieces here. And hey, these pieces are things. Like even in a regular game, like what the difference between like, oh, tic-tac-toe and like chess. And I don't mean like in complicatedness. I mean like this one's the king. And see, this one's just a pawn. Ooh, but this guy's on a horse, you see. Kind of thing. Like the idea that these things actually represent something beyond just the game world.
Right.
And so this crossing that barrier to me seems very relevant. And I can see why that would be very inspirational for people in general. Like you can't come up with the idea of a character in a game. Like this game does not have a character, right? You're just like you just shoot. But you can't have a Pac-Man until you have a world for Pac-Man to inhabit, right?
Yeah, a hellish world of mazes and ghosts.
Yes, but that is cool to know that this did that. I also want to say that I do kind of think that arcade high scores feel dumb to me, so maybe I blame this game for that a little bit.
You don't love the thrill of competing for a high score? It's like seeing who can climb the rock wall higher. Does that help you?
No. No, it's not like that at all.
It is just like that. How
It's
can you
not
say
like
it's not
that.
like that? Yes, it is. You don't know.
It's not like that. I don't.
Listeners, write in whether or not it's like that. Because we all know it's like that. Where's your competitive spirit?
I mean, again, maybe the issue is I need but it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't feel that meaningful. It doesn't. It just doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it would if that's all I had and there was a massive community of people and I was actively fighting somebody else. But like to me, achieving a higher score than I achieved before doesn't feel like I did better. I'm just like, oh, cool, number bigger, I guess.
I feel like, weren't we having the opposite discussion during Tetris? Didn't you? I'm the one who's talking about how I only care about like progression and I'm not that interested in how well I do. And you liked it?
Well, that's because that is based on like I don't know. That feels more based on like the way that you played, right? That's like, oh, I got, I'm not as it's not like, oh, number bigger. It's more like number bigger because I played more in a certain way. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's a direct correlation in virtually
But
every
like,
game with a high score.
okay,
Isn't
like
that how it
what is the certain way I played here that got me a higher score? Longer, I guess, except sometimes not. Maybe I hit the spaceship a little more.
Yeah, you hit the
I don't
spaceship,
know.
you aim better,
It doesn't
you
feel
survive.
fundamentally different.
It's it is effectively how long you last. I think they're
Well, it
also worth
wasn't for
fewer
me.
points if they get closer. I think once they turn green, they're worth only 10 points or something. I'm not sure. Something like that. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I mean, it's the same. Functionally, it's the same thing. How long you last, the longer you last, the more aliens you can shoot, the higher your score is. So you played better. Am I crazy? It seems simple to me.
Yeah, but it doesn't. I don't know.
All right.
Like,
well, maybe
sure, you did play better,
this.
but it doesn't. I don't know. It's not like meaningful to me. I don't know.
Sure, it doesn't change your life.
It doesn't inspire me the way something like Tetris does.
Okay, sure. That's maybe just a personal thing. Well, let's talk about it. What was your experience?
If it inspires you or doesn't inspire you, or don't write in.
What was your experience sitting down and playing this game for the first time in who knows how long, maybe ever? How did you find it?
I mean, so playing this game after playing Pac-Man, I did think that I'm coming to the realization that I don't really like arcade games that much. Like, I didn't dislike playing it. I wasn't like, oh, this sucks so bad. But like, as I was playing it, I was like, sure, this is the thing I could do to kill time. I don't really feel like I would get more out of it by playing more, right? Like, I feel like I could play Tetris basically forever and constantly be getting more out of it. With this, it kind of felt like, yeah, I mean, you could sit down and play it for 5 minutes for fun, but like, I'm not gonna be like, oh man, I gotta sit down and play more Space Invaders because it'll really feel like I've accomplished something to be better at it. And I had the similar thing with Pac-Man where it was like, sure, I played some of that, and I'm wondering if this is an arcade thing for me. Something about the way these arcade games are laid out doesn't. I certainly would not have been paying a fucking quarter per attempt on this. I don't think that I think that I have I'm much more closer to the like 90s kid millennial gamer mindset than the Gen X.
Here we go with Gen X again.
Well, fuck Gen X. It's their fault that we have arcade games.
Can you just give them some slack? They're not boomers, for Christ's sake.
No.
They're not Zoomers. I mean, they're the second best generation. Let's face it.
No.
They gotta be number 2. Who's number 2?
I think I would 100% put Zoomers above Gen X any day.
Oh, because you're all about skibbity riz. Go
Fuck
back to
Gen X.
Ohio. Gen X is responsible
They get too much slack.
for so much of the problematic comedy I love. I have to. I can't. I have to embrace them. Where would I be without their occasionally homophobic or racist insights?
Where would you be?
So not question. Here. Not doing this show.
Well, what inspired you to play video games in the first place?
I think you are painting perhaps too broad a brush over arcade games because, of course, arcade games is a vast
right.
Like what you're referring to are particularly the early score chaser arcade games in the vein of Pac-Man, Space Invaders. I don't know. Those are the two we've played, so I don't know anymore. But there's others.
Right. No, it did occur to me as I was thinking about this that I was like, to be fair, I have not played 2 arcade games. I have sort of technically played 3 arcade games in Tetris. I just didn't play the arcade version of Tetris. So in my head, I don't think of it as an arcade game.
It's not. Like, nobody thinks of it that way.
But if you were to be like, well, it was a in the arcade, then I might be sitting here like, well, I like some arcade games, like Tetris.
Yeah, I mean, Street Fighters was an arcade game. Punch-Out! Super Punch-Out! Was an arcade game.
Okay, but I haven't played these.
Marvel versus Capcom, the Simpsons arcade beat 'em up, Time Crisis, racing.
But how many
games.
of these arcade games are like post-dating consoles and are like taking their inspiration from them?
A lot. Well, I mean, certainly. Well, I don't know. Well, what does that mean? I didn't know. Now you're moving the goalposts, my boy. I'm just saying, there's even up until. I mean, I guess if you're counting the NES, I don't know, but certainly even pre-1990, not all arcade games are not this necessarily.
Well, here's the issue again. To convince me that I like arcade games, I would have to play some that I liked, and so far I've played 2.
Man, such a hater.
So maybe I'll change my mind. I think you would have a much better time changing my mind by just waiting a season of this show after and being like, now what do you think?
I don't really care.
Maybe I'll like them then. Maybe when I play Donkey Kong, I'll be like, hell yeah. I like the game with the monkey.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that'll be a big one. Well, let me tell you this. Space Invaders, you wouldn't have been willing to pay a quarter for it. Mm-hmm. But in 1978, a whole fucking lot of other people were paying quarters for it.
Because they were
this game was so goddamn successful.
Mm-hmm.
I say this in the intro, but within a year, by 1979, it had grossed more than $1 billion worldwide, which today is the equivalent to $4.8 billion. That's not James Cameron's Avatar doesn't even make $5 billion. That's like a staggering number. What piece of entertainment that isn't a phone makes $5 billion in a year? That is insane.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it in the context, though, of like, this is a new thing, right? Like, we didn't have any video games before.
Right.
And now we just started having them. Just barely started. This is brand new. Most people have never even considered that these things exist. And this one revolutionizes this to be like it's encroaching into the idea of a piece of media. Right. You could be in the Space Invaders world. There are multiple types of aliens and you are there fighting them. Like, that's a thing. You can imagine it. You're not just playing a game. I can see why the novelty of that is just like, holy shit. I've never even thought that you could do this before, but you can. I get that.
It's the Gone with the Wind of video games.
I take it for granted that video games exist and you can imagine yourself in them.
Right. Yeah, definitely. There's also, of course, an Atari 2600 version, which was the best-selling Atari game when it came out, sold over 4 million copies. Essentially, like the way as Tetris was to the Game Boy, I think Space Invaders was to the Atari. So not only did Space Invaders, potentially spawn all these genres spawn an entire arcade game industry, it also is indirectly, if not directly, responsible for the home console market success by giving the Atari life. Like, people would buy Ataris to play this game at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, you really can't understate how important this game is to video games. It's kind of, when you sit down and play it, that's not necessarily at the forefront of your mind.
Well, but that's what I'm thinking. As the introduced guy, I haven't played any of these things. You're over here like,
The
wow,
introduced guy.
this is the progenitor of
Progenitor.
everything I love, and over here I'm just like, I don't know any of that shit. Oh no, it influenced this, that, and the other. I don't know what those are. I'm just playing it.
Sure, and that's why we love you.
I'm in like the worst position because it's also not novel to me, like it would have been if I were alive then.
Well, you might, because you could also argue the opposite, that because I have played so many more video games, maybe I should be more jaded and more desensitized and more like, oh, what, like this sucks even more to me because I know what's better.
Yeah, but you're like intellectually curious. You don't just mindlessly
wow.
enjoy things
Holy
like
shit.
slop, right? Like when you like something, you want to dive into the history and understand it,
Wow. That's goddamn.
I'm pretty sure I have explicitly accused you of being intellectually incurious before as an insult. So don't take that too seriously.
No, I hear that.
Okay.
I will remember that. It's really nice. You're smart too, I guess.
I don't know.
So, I mean, look, I do not have nostalgia for this, even in the same way that I do for Pac-Man. We this passed us by, and I'll say it for the 15th time. I just think this Space Invaders, it is more of a relic in modern culture. It's not something people are really going back to play all the time.
Yeah, we're like archaeologists.
Right. When does Raiders come out? 1980? 82? Raiders 1980?
Why would I know that?
I don't know. Sometimes I thought you know things.
About video games? Oh, right. Oh.
Of the Lost
I thought you
Ark.
were talking about a fight. Okay.
81. I looked it up. It's 81.
Yeah, I was gonna say okay. Now that I know what you're talking about, I was like, you can't be more than a year off. Listen,
Great.
I'm stupid.
But to bring it back, but to tie it back in, this is a year after Star Wars was such a huge success, and
Right.
I don't think that is necessarily a coincidence. I think there was something in the culture that science fiction was really taking off in a big way with the mainstream. I think they are quoted as saying that's part of the reason they went with a sci-fi theme was because Star Wars was so big.
Mm-hmm. And because it's okay to kill aliens, just not people.
Correct.
They're not people like us. Do you realize how much sci-fi is like premised on the idea that they are in fact people like us?
I don't know. I mostly just watched the ones from the 50s. And usually you just shoot them. They're bad.
Alien.
Correct. So like I said, I went into this not going, oh man, Space Invaders, my beloved, or anything like that. And immediately it really is so simple, even compared to Pac-Man, which is also very, very straightforward. But Pac-Man, there's all kinds of, there's literal twists and turns in the maze. And every game you play, unless you are memorizing patterns because you're good at it, is going to be a little different because, oh, the ghost went here instead of there, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Space Invaders, it's like, no, there's rows of aliens. They come down. You shoot them. They get a little faster. You go home. Like, it doesn't, I mean, it might change. I guess the biggest thing that changes is, like, depending on how much of the bunkers, I believe they're called, they shoot, you might have different amounts of cover or types of cover. But it's pretty much the same experience every time.
The timing of when they shoot is random too, so you can't just be like, you can't do or at least it feels random. So you can't do the Pac-Man thing where you're just like, oh, you do this series of motions and you'll be fine. Like when I'm starting games and I'm like, my strategy is to go over here and then do that. I don't do the same exact thing every time because it's like, well, sometimes I went over here and I got the aliens and then I went over there. Well, sometimes I went over here and they started shooting at me, so I had to leave. So I didn't get all those aliens, so I had to come back. So it is, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
There is at least that to it. It's not, you can't play it blindfolded or whatever,
I do believe,
probably.
I think maybe you can. um, I at some point I looked up, like, you know, like I did for Pac-Man, what are the pro strats for
Mhm.
Space Invaders? And I do think there is a way, if you're really good at it, there is a rhythm you can get into that you can kind of zone out and almost just do it the same way every time. Um,
Hmm. But you
but
probably, I mean, but you must, like, unless you're manipulating when they shoot, you have to at least be, like, paying attention to where they are firing and move around that, right? I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. Here's a quote from the Space Invaders play guide from classicgaming.cc.
Sure.
It says the game has a heartbeat rhythm that the player should become attuned to. After playing for some time, it's possible for the player to move and fire in time with the game's cadence. Masters of the game have been known to hold conversations and appear completely uninvolved once this higher level of interaction has been attained. So, not necessarily, maybe, like, it's not like a memorization the way
Mhm.
Pac-Man is, but there's certainly a,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're good enough at it, you just kind of know.
Yeah, that feels right. That it's basically the same guys coming every time. As you said, you can kind of, or as you said, as I said, you can kind of go by the music in terms of your timing rather than looking super close. And yeah, as with anything, as if you get really good with it, you can just give it only a tiny bit of your attention.
Well, here's
That I get.
where that really comes in, I think, is because if you shoot one of the outer columns of invaders,
Hmm.
then when basically the way the game works, for anyone who doesn't know, when the invaders hit the left or right side of the screen, they then reverse and go back the other direction, and they start speeding up every time they do that, and they also get a little lower. If you take out an entire column of invaders before they hit the left or right wall, then they don't descend or speed up because now they need to hit the wall with the next inner column that still exists. Hopefully, I'm explaining this in a way that's articulate.
Mm.
So, if you are fast enough, you could take out those columns before they ever hit the wall, and then the rhythm never actually will change. And then
Mm.
you could even more really, like, do it by this, just a memorization of a rhythm to do, you know?
Interesting. I had noticed when playing that one of the best strategies was to, like, rather than just knock out the first rows, was to try to knock out full columns, or at least as much of full columns as you could.
Hmm.
But I was doing it, like, I was starting it under the idea that, like, okay, if I can limit the amount of area I have to look at, right? Like, rather than when I get to the last column where things are speeding up and it's closer, I have to, right, I have to pay attention to guys over here, and then I have to get all the way over there, and then I have to, right, I was like, okay, well, if there's only a couple, if even if I have multiple rows, if they're all kind of in the same area, then I can always hover around where they are, and that makes them easier to clear. That was my thought process, and I did discover that, yes, that made it easier to do. But I didn't really pick up on what you're saying here, which is,
Hmm.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, when you first start, there's kind of a battle between, should I go for columns because I'm, like, sitting there and I might as well just keep shooting, or should I go for a row because when they get lower,
Hmm.
then they get closer to me, so it's safer to take out the ones closest to me first. And I do think definitively the answer is go for the outer columns.
Hmm.
Is just the best method to tackle this game. I found myself
Yeah.
at generally just started going with the left ones first. I think you're maybe supposed to do the right one first and then go back,
Weird.
but I don't know what I did. I just had
Yeah,
a
I was like
rhythm.
left ones first because that's where I start and I
Right.
can start killing them immediately.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I was also doing the outer columns first, but that for me was because they don't really come like to the inside of the outermost bunkers, right? You know what I mean? Like you can shoot them when they've passed the bunker to the edge of the screen, but they don't really get past the bunker to the in part of the screen, which means that it's kind of like harder to clear those guys or for me, it was harder to clear those than the other guys. So I was like, I'm going to start by getting those guys cleared. So, like, I don't get into a crunch where I
Mm.
have to do it fast because they're getting too close. But oh shit, I got to like wait for them to get to the right section to hit him.
Hmm.
So I guess that also turned out to be correct for different reasons.
Yeah. I found the corners particularly tricky because I was often unclear whether how much room I had to my left because it's all just a
Hmm.
black void behind you. So I would think, oh, a shot's coming. I can dodge it by going left before realizing, oh, I'm all the way up against the wall already, and I would
Hmm.
die.
The aliens can for sure move farther left and right than you can.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I, so I will. So when I was playing this game, I do find it fun in a very similar way to Pac-Man. Actually, I think they
Hmm.
both give me this sort of this feeling of suspense of
Hmm.
oncoming danger, and I think part of it is the music.
Yeah, that could
Um,
have helped. Me not having that could have been a big deal.
I truly do think that's kind of you should have told me and tried to fix it or something. I don't know why you didn't, but it's fine. But there is this constant pressure as you
Mhm.
play that really is effective to me of oh man, I got to really time my shot just right. And oh, if you miss that shot because you have to wait for it to hit the back of the screen before you can shoot again, so it really hurts if you miss a shot. And I maybe more so than any other game we've played this week, I think this game the most times had me going fuck like
Mm.
a lot while I was playing it. Come on, fuck, god damn it, like I'm so close, I could get
Mm.
it. They're getting faster. Oh my god, I only have 3 left on the screen. I can do it. I can do it. Fuck, they got
Mm.
me.
Now, I'm not gonna say I didn't do that, but I don't know that I did that more than every other game. I think I certainly did that more when I played Mario.
Right.
But
Well,
you're
for
probably just
you,
better at Mario. You don't have the
right,
Space Invaders experience.
right. And also, I think, I mean, it's a different in Mario. It's like, ah, fuck, I missed that jump. That sucks. But for the most part, when and how I approach that jump is entirely up to me. There's, I'm not really worried about the timer unless
Mm.
there's an enemy on screen. Maybe there's a fireball in a couple areas that I have to deal with, but I can like sit there and think about it and get ready.
Yeah,
And
you sit
this
there too
this game and
much.
Pac-Man are
Just
like
gotta send it.
shut up.
Yeah, keep
This
going.
game and Pac-Man are like you. There's no thinking about it. It's pure
Hmm.
instinct because it's just happening. And if you don't react, you're fucked.
Hmm.
So it hits me a little bit harder.
And
Um,
so that's interesting because maybe that is why this to you feels so much more akin to something like Tetris or rhythm games, right? That
mm,
because like not playing very many games and one of the big things is rhythm games, it's like no, it feels very distinct. But if you're like I play a lot of games and most of them you can kind of set your own pace. Like I can be like I'm just going to sit here before I enter the next stage. Yeah, there is something fundamentally different about like no dude, you're in it, right? It's happening whether you do anything or not. So you better do it. And to me like that doesn't feel like distinct.
because that's how you always feel.
That too, because I guess I mean, like when I'm playing Mario, I am like, no, I'm just moving, I'm just doing it. I'm fucking no, we're going. I'm not sitting here. What are we talking about?
Yeah, you're a dumbass.
No, I'm
Yeah,
cool.
I
That's why I'm
also
so good.
I think it one of the things this game gets right is I also never feel like it's not my fault. When
Mm,
I
mm-hmm,
screw up, it always feels like, oh, if I had just moved to the left a
mm-hmm,
second earlier. And
mm-hmm.
that's part of what makes me want to go, I got to do another go. I got to do one more run because I know I can do that again better. and I can make it
Mhm.
farther. So I'll tell you, at first I was really bad at this game when I first started playing. I think I got
maybe even as bad as me. I doubt that.
it's possible. It's possible. I think I got, and I'm sorry we keep comparing this to Pac-Man, but it's in our heads, and it's the it's our it's our point of comparison right now.
We don't have a lot of episodes yet. Soon we
Right.
will be comparing it to a lot of. Listen, you got to compare it to Pac-Man because otherwise I won't know what you're saying.
Right, sure. But I think that I got better at this game faster than I did at Pac-Man. And I also think Pac-Man has a higher skill ceiling, I think. I don't know if these two things are related or contradict each other or make sense. I'm just saying words.
That. No, I could see that.
I think there's just more. I mean, Pac-Man just is more complex. And this just is, it's your get your reaction time better. And at a certain point, it's just, well, I can see how I would keep improving that, but it's the same skill. It's not like I'm learning different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I did get a little better. I looked up a couple things in this guide that were sort of helpful, but not nearly as illuminating in the way that Pac-Man was, where it's like, oh, the ghosts move this way. There's just so much more going on there. But by the end of the week, I was able to consistently clear the first level, often without losing a life, which I was very happy with. And I made it to level 3 a fair number of times. I don't know about fair number, but like a handful of times, and always died at level 3. I never made it to 4. My overall the highest score I achieved was 2,470 points.
Wow. That's good. That's really good.
So I want to hear in comparison what your feeling of progress was.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay. So I did start off much worse. I do think, you're right to say that it always feels like your fault, but I don't know that I would be able to judge when it wasn't my fault. But yeah, I think a lot of it does. There is a lot that has to do with like just timing and like cognitive load, because a lot of times it would just be like, oh, I died unnecessarily there because I wasn't watching the bullets, because I was watching where the aliens were, because I was trying to time my shot. And if I could have done that faster, I could have been looking at the bullets and I could have dodged them, because there's no reason that I couldn't have just moved out of the way, except that I wasn't looking. Right, because I'm paying attention. So as I got better at paying attention to more things, I got better at not dying as much. Now I think I only actually cleared the first level twice. But I didn't. I will admit I did not play this even as much as Pac-Man, just because I felt like, all right, I feel like I get it now that I know that you're not changing the levels significantly every single time. I'm not too, I'm not too inspired to keep going. But my high score was 1260.
Okay.
I am not sure that is the farthest I got, though. Like there were differences in like when I shot the aliens, or if I shot there's a spaceship that flies past on the top, and if you hit it, you get extra points.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure like the farthest I got into level 2, which was not very far, was not the 1260.
That's okay. Yeah. That spaceship, by the way, I believe the amount of points it gives you is determined by how many shots you have fired thus far. The earlier you shoot it, the more points it gives you.
Interesting. Okay.
Sometimes I would kind of try to go for it, but usually I would just hit it by accident.
Yeah, there were times where it took me a while before I even tried to hit it. I was like, I'm not ready to even begin trying to hit this thing yet. And yet, in some of my early attempts, I was like, okay, I have fewer aliens left on screen, but a higher score. How did that happen?
Right.
And like, maybe it was the distribution of aliens, or maybe I just hit the ship by accident. I don't know.
But if you cleared level 1 at all, I consider that a victory. That's because it's challenging. I mean, when they get low, it's very easy, even if you are good at the game, to slip up and take a hit. And you take one hit, there's a life. That's it. I don't know if you discovered it. There is a 1-up at 1,500 points. I guess you didn't.
I did not discover that. No, because I didn't get there. Now interesting. I could be wrong here. I could be misremembering, but I don't think I ever died to the last alien. Because when that first was, I was like, oh, that's really fast. But when there was literally only one alien and I could just sit there and be like, I just have to time this one stupid shot. There's not going to be multiple guys who, if I miss one, I then have to move because the other one might be shooting me. It was a lot easier because I'm just trying to hit one thing.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, they move way faster, and I also by that point they're lower.
Yeah.
I think this is maybe another instance where I was impacted by the pressure, and there was music making me feel like panic at the same time.
I wonder if the panic from the music, because again, I think I did have a lot of trouble like lining up some of the shots, and I do wonder maybe the music is overall a benefit. Like, sure, it adds the panic, but it also adds the like, okay, I have more of a sense of when I should be shooting. I wonder. Oh well.
Yeah, well, I mean, 2
didn't do
weeks
it.
ago we just talked about how important music was in something like Zelda.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fucking important. Fucking idiot. Jesus Christ. What a stupid... Nobody wanted this experiment. We didn't need this variable. Stupid.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is, I suppose. Now, listen, the games... I do have... My biggest issue with this game is... What was it with these arcade games where they really... I mean, I guess this was the first time they ever had the idea of an endless game. Like the idea of levels was not really a thing. But man, it would if in a new level they could just change the positioning of the bunkers or something. Make the aliens a different color. I don't fucking know, but just something. It really is. Even at least in Pac-Man, like there's different fruits. Like there is something that's a little more unique, and the patterns change. This is really nothing changes. They just get a little faster.
Fault them too much for that, because it is kind of like, that's the next step. Like the first step is to be like, what if after you beat it, you just had to keep beating it? Holy shit. Like I get that. Only once you've kind of like gotten past that revelation can you start being like, what if we changed it?
Right. There's no cutscenes in this one. I wish you got to see a little Space Invader run across the screen and then come back and its costume is torn and it has flesh underneath. Would have made me happy.
Hot.
Yeah. Well, you want me to keep talking about it?
Maybe off
Patreon. That's going to be exclusive Patreon content. There's some
OnlyFans.
Yeah, another one. Oh yeah, you mean for the show, not just personal. Yeah.
No, only fans.
Let's talk about some advanced techniques in Space Invaders.
Okay, the advanced techniques.
Yeah, maybe maybe you discovered some of these, maybe you didn't.
I thought we already talked about them, but I probably didn't.
Those were basic techniques. Here's an advanced technique. For some reason, the aliens are slower moving from right to left than they are from left to right.
I did not notice that.
This is much easier to notice, in my opinion, when there's only one or two or three on screen at the end. I think it's very apparent when they're closer. It's much harder to shoot them when they're going left to right because they're like much faster. So there's a little technique is like I probably wouldn't even try to shoot them from that way because I'm going to waste a shot and I'm more likely to hit them on the way coming back. Okay. Second advanced technique. This is a big one. A lot of people like this one. Of course, you have these bunkers, these shields, but eventually the aliens shoot them and they will disintegrate and you no longer have protection. I mean, this is a basic technique would be you sit with most of yourself hidden from one with just your laser gun poking out the edge to shoot from. I'm sure you at least did that much.
Basically, yeah.
Oh boy. Can't wait to see this footage. And but the advanced technique is you as well, your shots will also destroy your own bunkers.
Mhm.
And at times it's advantageous to shoot through the middle of one, and then you can shoot at aliens through the middle, but both of your sides are protected by what the bunker remains on the left and right.
Mm.
You ever do that?
I mean, I did shoot at the bunker to clear it a little bit so that I had more room, but I never really, like, intentionally made a gap that I could sit behind. I think
See,
I was usually moving.
there's more technique to this game than you're giving it credit for. What about this? The fact that you can block shots, that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Like
I did
if
do
they're
that.
yeah, if they're shooting that is something that feels relatively quote unquote advanced for the time that like they actually react to you with their shots. They shoot back at you. They're not just passive. And they
That's
can
in
block your shots with their own. Yeah.
So interesting. So is their shooting based on your shooting then?
No, I don't think directly but like that's it
Okay.
just generally speaking they shoot back at you.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I did notice them block my shots. There were times where I was like, "Motherfucker, I just needed this guy dead so that I could move back to the other stuff and he keeps blocking my fucking shot. Now I don't have one."
Yeah. Yeah. They're assholes, those aliens. You were also
And I
speaking
guess I
before
started shooting first. Yeah.
about the like when you would thought you'd die because you weren't looking in the right place.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I think is great about this game, especially when you think about it in terms of an arcade cabinet in front
Mhm.
of you. That it really is about the the balance of wanting to look at the top of the screen to see where the shots are coming from versus looking at the bottom of the screen to see when you should be dodging.
Yes. It
Yeah,
feels to me, and I never quite got there, but it feels to me that you should be primarily looking at the bottom of the screen and barely looking at the top at all. Like that should be mostly peripheral. But I was not like good enough to line up shots without looking at it.
I think you're probably right because it's more important that you survive than that you hit them every time.
Hmm.
And if you're good enough at the patterns, you should be able
Right.
to intuit.
Yeah, also, the aliens move at consistent speeds, so it should take very, very little time and information to line up a shot, right? They're moving at that speed, they're there, alright, cool, I registered that, I can press the button, and I know the shot will hit, I don't even have to look at it. Whereas with you, it's like, I can move and react so fast that, like, I can just kind of, like, dodge around 3 or 4 shots that are all coming at me very, very quickly. Like, the difference in that makes it feel like you should be watching yourself so that you can react.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I agree. I mean, you really kind of have to be, zipping back and forth with your eyes. But I think that's cool that it's a thing, a strategy in the game that isn't in the game itself. It's your
Mm.
own physicality
Mhm.
that's determining it. Which I don't know if maybe that's a thing. Technically in any game, you use your eyes to look at it. And where you look at the screen changes, but it feels more intentional in this. I kind of like that. This game gives me like a physical sensation more
Mm.
so than a lot of other games do. And I imagine, of course, it's even more so. Once again, we were playing this with computer keys and not with a joystick.
Mhm.
Which I feel like in this game, in Pac-Man, I said I thought that a physical joystick might be a little bit easier to use. I feel like in this game it might be harder. I feel like I can be more precise with the keypad than trying
Mhm.
to get my movement right with a physical stick. That seems hard.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And it does, the physicality does matter. So I do same thing I was wondering with Pac-Man, how much would it change the experience to have that? Like, I don't know. That could be a cool thing to add to it. Now, you're saying that like there's like a place where you're looking on the screen that changes. Now that doesn't feel very unique to me, but you said earlier that when you played Tetris, you are not looking at the next piece. Whereas I think I said the exact opposite. I said, like, I feel like if I were good enough, I would be looking almost exclusively at the next piece and barely at the actual like thing itself. But I wasn't good enough to do that. So maybe that's why that doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably just my personality in general that I don't think about what's coming next. I actually think I probably did look at that piece in Tetris sometimes, just like not consciously.
Well, you have better reaction time. I can't, I'm not going to be able to do like if I don't already know what I'm going to do by the time it's time to do it, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to fuck it up.
Well, this is I always say in board games and tabletop games, I'm better at tactics than I am at strategy. Like any game where at the start of it you kind of want to develop a long-term game plan and like build up to it by doing this then this, it's likely that I'm going to do poorly because I'm like other people are smarter than me and they figured out a better plan and mine I just didn't. But if there's a game where you can pivot or like there's so much chaos and randomness that it's pointless to try to develop a long-term strategy because the things are going to change so often, I feel more comfortable there because that's generally I'm usually like I'm thinking one turn in advance and not 12 turns in advance.
Yeah, see, I'm definitely the opposite on that. 100%. Like if I'm playing a game, I'm far more likely, if I'm doing tactics, I'm far more likely to be like, oh yeah, I should be able to do this into this. And people will be like, you said 4 steps and 2 of them actively contradicted each other. And I'll be like, oops, I forgot what I was saying midway through. I just dropped that detail from my brain. Whereas I'm far more comfortable looking at an overall thing and being like, do I want to play this more conservatively or aggressively? This feels like a moment to take a much more aggressive action. Okay, we're going to do that type of thing. That to me is where I feel far more comfortable. Like if I don't understand kind of like the lay of the land, I feel very adrift in a game.
Yeah, certainly I think I get more like that if I play a game multiple times. But like the first time or two that I ever play something, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, just learned the rules. I'm just going to try shit.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the first time you play, you can't do this well. But the first time I play a game, usually
but some people can. I feel like people in my game group can do that. and I'm like, how do you do that?
Well, you just got to play. I guess you just have to play enough games. But like for me, when I'm playing a game for the first time, a lot of my brain is trying to think like, let's focus less on what I'm doing and if I can win, and more on like, can I understand how this game is flowing so that if I ever play it again, I can do that.
Right. Yeah. And that's, I'm sure, how you approached Space Invaders.
Right, exactly. That is exactly how I approached Space Invaders. Hey, that's how I figured out that I should be knocking out columns, because I was almost immediately being like, well, I need to get these rows because they're going to kill me. Wait, I feel like I actually do have enough time to take out columns before they do kill me. So maybe, I don't know.
You're developing your gaming instincts.
Right, yes. That's what this is all about.
There is, of course, a great Futurama episode in which video game the Emperor Lur or whatever. What's his name? Is that his name or is that the planet?
Yeah, Lur. Right? He used to call Lur, right?
Yeah, Lur is trying to invade Earth, and there's also a General Pac-Man. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really remember like why this is happening. But it's like an arcade video game themed invasion, and at some point he has literal Space Invaders blocks are the ships, and Fry saves them because he has played a lot of Space Invaders and he operates the tank to shoot them all. And it's like a 3-minute sequence of just them playing Space Invaders, and Lur keeps giving orders to his army, and he's like, you need to descend a little bit and then start going faster and reverse. That's his only strategy. It's very funny. And then there's one, when they get down to just the one ship, Fry can't shoot it because it's too fast, and it lands, and Lur comes out, and he says a line which I think about all the time.
So this is why this episode is important to you.
Yes.
Okay.
He says to Fry, instead of shooting where I was, you should have shot at where I was going to be.
I do know this line. I would not have been able to tell you that's where it was from.
It's just something about the fact that is just literally advice for Space Invaders. Is so funny to me.
And it's also advice for like catching a ball in real life if you were
sure. Well, yeah, that's
cool. By the way, I don't want to give anyone the wrong impression. I can't catch a ball. If you throw a ball at me, I can't catch it.
Nobody had that impression.
Good. I just,
nobody.
Just want to make sure.
But I so many video games I think about that quote. Because that really does apply to like almost every game. Where anytime you have to aim at something, don't shoot where it is, shoot where it's going to be. I just think it's true wisdom. Also in that same scene, Pac-Man gets shot by a Space Invader, and Ms. Pac-Man starts crying.
So
and Leela says, "Tend to the widow, Pac-Man." It's funny.
Would you say that Lur is your favorite philosopher?
Wow. I would say Lur is maybe number 2. Number 1 is probably Jordan Peterson.
Okay. Based on which iconic quote?
I like when he says, "It's not easy being green."
Pretty good impression.
Being the color of the grass. I know so little about Jordan Peterson. I truly know nothing about him.
I do remember, like 3 or 4 years after he got popular, you messaging me and being like, "That's what he sounds like? Are you serious?"
But then Joe Rogan also kind of sounds like Kermit the Frog. They both kind of talk like that.
Everyone kind of sounds like Kermit the Frog.
Which is perfect for me because it's one of the only impressions I do.
Right. Yeah. No, you definitely don't do any others. You haven't and never will do any others on this podcast. Those are all real guests.
Great philosopher I am too, yes.
Now that's my real favorite philosopher, is Yoda.
Yes, and you know what he says? I've got it right here on a little rock on my desk.
I sure do. Why don't you enlighten us with what your Yoda rock says?
I dropped it. The greatest teacher failure is.
Right. His most famous quote.
And that's something that you learn probably every time you play a video game, probably.
That's right.
I mean, that's the essence of video games, especially early ones. You don't, as Michael Caine says, when you fall off a horse, Master Wayne, you get back up on the bloody well horse, innit?
I remember that line.
Oh, can't.
No, it was really good. That's basically perfect.
That's the lesson of video games. That's the lesson of Space Invaders. You keep trying. You get a little bit better, a little bit farther. Someday I'm going to beat level 3. Just like someday I'm going to get the 3rd Pac-Man cutscene.
Space Invaders.
Well, what about those squiggly line shots? Those are weird.
Those are weird. Why are there multiple shots? They do different things?
I think the squiggle lines maybe are faster, or maybe they
just blow up the bunker different.
Yeah, maybe they blow up more of the bunker. I was going to say that, but because they all just kill you the same.
Yeah. What's your favorite alien? Space Invaders.
Oh, I'll tell you. Well,
you?
just to answer the question, I found it on the page here. I believe they're much harder to block. They're more likely to pass through
Mm,
your own shot. The
I see.
squiggly lines. Yeah. My favorite Space Invaders, so there are 3 different kinds of aliens. There's the bottom one, which is kind of this, looks like a skull, I would say, with little bits
Mhm.
coming out the ends.
Yeah.
There's
Or maybe, yeah, let's say a skull. Why not?
there's the middle one, which is sort of the iconic one that
Mhm.
people know. And then there's the top one, which kind of looks like a bloober or a squid.
Mhm.
I it is interesting to me that the middle one is the only one that has retained any kind of you know, cultural adoration. There's no t-shirts or hats with these other fuckers on them. It's all that
That's
guy.
true. Now that being said, though, I don't know. I feel like those like weird skull ones, they almost look like jellyfish crab things to me. More like I don't know,
I
like
can
they've
see
got
that.
pincers at the bottom. But those to me also do feel like iconically Space Invaders for some reason to me. Although you are right, it is the middle ones that.
I honestly don't know. If you showed me a week ago those top ones, the squids, I don't know that I
Mhm.
necessarily would have gone, "Oh yeah, that's from Space
Yeah,
Invaders." I might not have known.
I don't think I would have. No.
Yeah, they're just kind of like whatever. Yeah, the bottom one's a little more, but the bottom ones just kind of look like a squashed version of the middle ones. they're not
Mhm.
they're not that dissimilar. They don't
So
have the
these might
antenna.
all be the same species.
Yeah. Well, I think they are, right? I mean,
I
wouldn't they be?
guess.
Or you think it's a
Maybe.
coalescence, a coalition of different alien races to come together to destroy Earth?
I don't know.
We don't know what their goal is. I mean, they're invading, they're firing, they want to land, and then you lose if
Mhm.
they hit the bottom of the screen. But then what
You
happens?
you mean I'll tell you this, that I did start shooting first every game, right? Maybe they came in peace originally.
This is like Spec Ops, where the only moral thing to do is not to play it at all.
Right, yeah.
Sure, that's a reference I'm sure you get.
I do know that that's the thing with Spec Ops. I've been on
Okay.
the internet, but
Oh,
I
oh, who
outside
lets
of
you on
that.
there? Um, yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, like if there's only one alien left, okay, you let it land, but can you? Oh, my Google's talking to me. Sorry. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Trying to make a really funny joke about how you could just shoot the last alien, right?
Right,
I mean,
when
you
he
could just shoot
lands.
it. It's like well, we can only shoot up. It came down. We're screwed.
Right.
And why is there
Like
another
Fry
screen?
in
Is that like
Futurama.
another more of them came in level
Yeah,
2?
yeah. It's the second wave.
Yeah, I guess so. How much time do you think has passed, you know? Is that like the next day? Is it a minute later?
It's
I
a
want the
not
backstory.
enough time to repair the bunkers.
No, they do start repaired each
Oh,
level,
they
don't they?
do?
I think
I
so.
thought they were I don't know. I
I
guess I
think
didn't clear it enough and I wasn't paying enough attention.
yeah, they just shoot faster so they get destroyed faster.
Mm,
But they definitely they start intact each time.
okay. I just somehow I don't know. What do you want from me?
Well, let's hear it. It's time for us to give our IGN ratings to Space Invaders. The one of the
You didn't
most
actually answer your favorite of the
obviously the
monsters.
middle one.
Yeah, okay. It is the middle one.
Yeah, of course.
He's
Who the
cute
fuck
when he's
cares?
like uncurled or whatever,
He's
right? And
cute.
he's not and he looks like he's doing a jumping jack. I like him.
Yeah, he's funny. It
Or
kind of looks like
her.
a little
Or it.
buggish.
Yeah, a little buggish. You don't like bugs though. I thought maybe
Yeah,
you'd like the bloober.
it sort of looks like he has mandibles.
Mhm.
If those aren't his arms, again, if that's his
Yeah.
mouth. But then it's like, what am I? We're going back to the earlier
Mhm.
conversation. Like, is that his head, or is his body behind him, or are those his arms and legs, or is that just pieces of is those his ears? You know, like I don't. Who knows? I don't know what we're looking at. That's part
Mhm.
of the fun. You got to use your imagination.
Wow.
Kids today are spoiled.
I'm spoiled.
Yeah. Also, they are all white and then they turn green. I mean, it'd be nice if they had a couple more colors. Here's actually one more interesting fact that I learned. The reason that they speed up as they go is
Oh yeah, I saw
because
this.
yeah, the hardware limitations, when there's more on screen, it just couldn't handle that many, so they're slower. And that wasn't really a design choice, it was a flaw in the hardware, but he was like, "Oh, but that's sort of interesting, so I'll keep it." Like that's basically the entire game. Like if that
Yeah.
weren't the case, they would just what? Never speed up or stay the
They
same
would just
speed?
stay
Like
the same speed. They'd probably go faster than they do now, but not as fast as the fastest level, and that'd be it.
and I think that I mean, like the game is dead right there if that is the case. Like what there is that is the whole game. All right, give me your IGN rating. Final thoughts on Space Invaders.
So let's see. I mean, I don't want to make it out like I didn't enjoy playing Space Invaders. Even though I shit on it this whole time, I did like it. It just wasn't the sort of thing that grabbed me into playing it for long periods of time. Right? This is a fine thing to play on a flash thing when you're a kid and whatever the fuck. I do think the fact that these aliens don't have different names actually massively hurts this game. Like 100%, Pac-Man gets so many points for them being named, Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde. If they didn't have those names, it would be a much worse game.
What would
I'd
you
be much
name
less
these
attached to it.
aliens if it were up to
I
you?
I don't know. I think, what did I call them? Gleeps, glorps, and goobers. Let's call them that.
Okay, I like that.
But it's not official is the problem. I made it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to me, this game is very on par with Pac-Man in terms of enjoyment. But it
Pac-Man,
does
which
lose
you
some.
gave a
A
4.5.
4.5, yes. Now remember, I'm not really giving this points for being the first environment. The designs are cute without names. I don't know. I feel like they stand out to me mostly because I've seen them so much. Maybe they would more if they were the first design I ever saw. I'm gonna be. I'm sorry, arcade. I'm sorry, Gen X. I'm gonna give Space Invaders, I think, a 4.2.
4.2.
100%. If those things had names, this would, or as you said, they got colored differently in different levels. This would go beyond Pac-Man for me, but it doesn't, and it doesn't.
Wow, 4.2. Smoke up. Well, because there's a 0 implied after the 2.
Of course, yeah.
Math. That's math.
4.2069.
Okay. All right. Come on. I do believe that I do agree that Pac-Man is better than this game. I mean, it came out like 2 years later, which, as we established, is an immense
Forever.
amount of time in this era. It just has more going for it. It's more fun to me. However, Space Invaders did surprise me because when I first started playing it, I felt similarly that, oh, this is it. Even you play this for 5 seconds, it's right there. I know everything there is to know. And yet, when I was in it, when I was in the zone, I still had fun. It made me like I was tapping my feet. It made me physically react and go like, oh, fuck. Like it still has a power of some kind to affect me, make me feel like, oh, I gotta try again and get a little better. I still feel that. I think it still has that capacity, even all these years later, which is pretty impressive considering how bare bones it is. And it really is bare bones. So I'm not like in love with this game or anything, but I do kind of like it. I gave Pac-Man a 7.7. Do I? Yeah, this isn't. So I think I'm gonna give this. This is tricky. I think I am gonna give it to kind of go along with your 4.20. I'm gonna give it a 6.9.
Okay. Yes, that sounds totally reasonable.
I wanted to give it a 7. I kind of want to give it a 7, but I feel like I don't know. It doesn't. I don't want to give it. I feel like that's just a little too high. It's just not. It's just so simple and so repetitive. But I'm also, again, I am sort of rating it. I'm not necessarily comparing it like, if this came out today and cost $70, it would be a different situation. I am kind of taking into account the era it came out in. So I don't know. My rating system is confusing because I'm sort of trying to do both things at once. But yeah, I'm going to go 6.9.
Of all the games to do that dumb shit meme on, who would have guessed it would be Space Invaders?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not doing a dumb meme. That's my honest feelings.
Okay, I
Now,
believe you.
it is very difficult, we've established, there just weren't that many publications really talking about video games when this game came out. I mean, this game is the reason some of those publications started coming out. Another thing that was a first for Space Invaders is it was the first video game where people published books with tips and tricks for this game. It truly was a massive phenomenon. There was also there's a couple spin-offs and sequels. There's a Space Invaders Part 2 that came out in 79. Now, in this one, the aliens actually did have different colors. And it also had it had an actual, you could actually enter your initials for the high scores. In this game, it would just display at the top. And it also added some cutscenes in between stages. So not exactly as crazy as like Ms. Pac-Man to Pac-Man, in my opinion, but there were some little changes. There's also aliens that split into two when you shoot them. Kind of cool.
This all sounds pretty, considering how bare bones Space Invaders is. Pretty much anything you do to it is going to be a massive jump. Some of these are like enemy that splits into two enemies is kind of a crazy jump from this.
Yeah, it is.
Cutscenes.
It's a drop of water in the desert, truly. But I don't know that I've ever seen. You would think it's, from the sound of it, it's just a straight up upgrade. It's the same game just with more stuff, but I don't know that I've ever seen a Space Invaders Part 2 cabinet in the wild. It doesn't seem like it.
I get it. Where you're just like, it's the same game but with more stuff, and it's like, but the only reason that the game is interesting is because it, like, you've never seen it before. If I've seen it before, then adding more stuff doesn't make it more interesting to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not true, but
we should know. We gave Pac-Man a lot of credit for its cutscenes. Space Invaders Part 2 did have cutscenes a year before Pac-Man.
And are they the erotic ones you described?
They are, yes.
Wow.
Anyway, we have a section here where we look at old reviews. We always do that every week thoroughly.
Always.
What I managed to pull up here is a copy of Electronic Games Magazine, EGM, from 1981.
Okay.
And there's a couple interesting articles in here. One is titled, but it's just crazy in general to read this magazine, by the way, because video games in 1981, there weren't that many. They all kind of just looked like Space Invaders. There's an ad in here for the Intellivision that's really funny because it's this guy going, look how much better the Intellivision is than Atari. Look, here's our baseball game compared to the Atari baseball game. And it just looks like two complete dog shit fucking graphics games. Like, they both look absolutely terrible. But it's like, but on ours, we have 6 little baseball pixels and they only have 3. It's
kind of funny for a games mag. It's like back when there were only like 6 channels on TV. So you would just be like, yeah, I just assume that everybody has watched all the same shows I have. Or here it's like, yeah, you get the games magazine. It's about the games that everyone has played. They're not going to talk about a game you haven't played.
Right. No, they're not. They're not going to. Or you've at least seen it. Go to the arcade. You'll find it. They have an article in here called "Can Asteroids Conquer Space Invaders?" About the upcoming Asteroids game, and they give a little history of when Space Invaders came out, and it's a whole article about will asteroids be the one to overtake Space Invaders. Now, we are going to be playing Asteroids later this season. Came out a year after Space Invaders. What do you think the determination of the magazine was? Do you think Asteroids beat it?
So did Asteroids come out yet at this point, or are they just speculating? Is this hype?
It had come out, but I think it was still they were like, will it?
It's brand new.
Will it be like the more popular thing? Is it making more money? That kind of thing.
Right. I mean, in hindsight, I do know that while Asteroids does have a big cultural impact, it's nothing compared to Space Invaders. But I also know that like the hype is real. I feel like maybe the magazine got really hyped up and was like, I think this is going to be the next Space Invaders. It's going to make, $8 billion or $2 billion, whatever in that money. And it'll be, I think they got hyped up on it. That's what I think.
All right. Here's what they said at the end of the article. Let's call the battle between Asteroids and Space Invaders a draw. Both of them are certainly winners in any gamer's book.
Oh, come on. There's some fucking balls. Christ almighty.
They interviewed
Pick a side.
A New York City arcade operator said, quote, "They peacefully coexist. I've got plenty of room for both."
No, fuck you. There's no peaceful coexistence over here.
He also says people who have Space Invaders at home still occasionally like to play it here. Imagine you're like, I don't want to play this game for more than 5 minutes. These people are playing it at home and going, let's leave so we can play it somewhere else.
Like, I could see playing it more, like, a lot, but, like, 5 minutes at a time is kind of like, all right, that's enough. Whatever, maybe. Yeah, people were crazy about it.
Also, they have sort of a video game arcade awards section in this magazine. And they do point out that in 1980, Space Invaders won the Best Coin-Op Electronic Game Award. And in 81, that went to Asteroids.
So it did overthrow them. Fuck you, Space Invaders.
Well, I don't know if you're eligible 2 years in a row. But I don't know how that works. But yeah. And it is, again, I'm looking at, it does drive it home when I'm reading the nominees they have here for 1980. One of the categories are best sports game, best target game, best solitaire game, most innovative game, which went to basketball on the Atari.
Wow.
Like this really shows you Space Invaders was such a big deal because just every other game was just sports and shoot planes. Like there was just no imagination.
It's a game in real life. Put it in the game.
One of the categories is best Pong variant. They had a whole category for just Pong knockoffs.
What is that? Is that like a toothpaste for dinner comic? Or is like if you die in this game, you die in real life? What game is it? Basketball. That's what I'm thinking here.
Yeah. They do say the Atari version of Space Invaders is clearly the best home version. They say there wouldn't be video games without Pong, but it's doubtful that home arcading could have become the rapidly growing hobby it is today without the impetus supplied by unparalleled success of Space Invaders.
Home arcading. That's a crazy phrase.
I also saw them in another place use the word arcader to describe someone who plays arcade games.
That's so weird.
This says the Atari version had optional rules like fast bombs and invisible aliens.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Crazy. At some point, I think we need to have a special episode where we go to an arcade, like maybe later on, and play a bunch of the games we've played.
I think you said this already.
Well, I said it for I kind of implied it, but now I'm saying now we should really commit to like putting it all in one and be like, here's all the arcade games we played this season, now we have like a refresh, a look back on them, but in real life, in the arcade.
I'll let you figure that out.
All right, that's basically all I had for our reviews. And that's basically all I have for the show. No emails this week. I did not write a song.
Our listeners are fucking slacking over here.
Yeah,
there are
so
emails.
That's the reason there's not another 20 minutes at the end of the show. Because nobody wrote in. But of course, you can always write in to badwithgamespodcast@gmail.com. If you have opinions on Space Invaders, if maybe you're Gen X and you want to get into a fight, we'd love to hear about that. Or anything in general about video games, your history with games we've already played. We don't care. We'll read it. We'll read any of it. Is there anything else you need to say?
Better to read.
Any more thoughts on anything else about Space Invaders we didn't squeeze out here? Honestly, I'm kind of amazed we got as much as we did out of it.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping we had emails or a song or something, or else we weren't.
We did fine. An hour 45, that's fine. Doesn't always need to be.
Pigs will have to be happy with their half full trough.
It's nearly full.
It's almost there.
You can also check out our Patreon, patreon.com/badwithgames. Next week's a big week.
What's that?
Next week we're going to have a lot more to say.
Next week.
No, you sure can. In fact, I already started playing next week's.
God damn. Yeah, you're on top of it.
Because Space Invaders was so nothing that I just decided to get a head start. Everyone's been wondering about it. The listeners and viewers have been asking and questioning how we're going to approach these types of things. And next week is the test. We will be playing Final Fantasy, the original Final Fantasy on the NES from 1987. I know that Dragon Quest predates it, 1986, and there's other RPGs. It doesn't matter. What we're doing is Final Fantasy. It's the first RPG we're playing on the show. It's going to be, it's exciting. We did a couple weeks of games that nobody really wants to hear about.
It's a little, because everyone's been wondering how we're going to do it, and that includes us, and I don't think we have a specific plan other than just we'll figure it out.
We'll talk about it next week, but I'm going to do my best to actually finish this game. You do not have that same pressure, but that's also more of a personal, I would just want to do that. But
right.
We'll see how it goes.
We will indeed see how it goes.
Very exciting. We appreciate you listening. Listen, if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking to yourself, man, I'd love to support them, but right now they're not accepting Patreon donations. You could always go ahead and give us 5 stars on iTunes. That's kind of nice. You could like and subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you like video options. Or you could tell a friend about the show. Tell all your gaming friends. Maybe you have a friend who loves Animorphs. You can get them into this show by getting them to listen to our last podcast, The Yerky Boys.
This sucks, what you're doing right now.
We have extra time, so I thought I'd plug things. All right. That's it. Hope everyone's having a good week. As always, you know what we like to say here. Fuck you.